first, I would like to invite Dr. Vibha Dhawan. She is the Director General of TERI, a very prestigious organization.
Thank you. And the entire session, I should say, it's very interesting. Dr. Shekhar introduced the topic, and Mr. Rajendra Singh spoke about water conservation, the importance of water, and so on. So it's quite many points that I wanted to touch upon. You have really explained them so well. But when we are talking of new development models for green growth post-COVID, and especially if we are looking at the governance or sustainability, I'll say in TERI, we started talking about these concepts much before the world became aware of them. Many of you might be aware that way back in 1997, which was 50 years after independence, TERI has put one study. It was called Green India 2047. And we looked into the growth models, the development, what is the cost of development humankind is paying in terms of sustainability. So that was that if we continue business as usual, what will be the scenario in 2047, 100 years after independence? And I'm afraid that many of the findings that we presented, they never even took next 50 years. It became much shorter time to face that kind of crisis. But we didn't stop there, because it is very clear that the development has to take place. You can't stop where you were. You have pressures of population, aspiration of people. So you cannot say that let the world stop where it is. So things has to continue. It's only that we have to look into how do we progress, ensuring that it is sustainable. And for that, we launched another study, which was called Disha. So it was basically looking into that how various models of growth, they can be changed and what kind of research needs to be done and so on. I'll say while we, of course, each one of us, because COVID is no more numbers, now it is names. None of us is untouched by this pandemic. We have lost our dear friends, our relatives, and more than that, we are afraid what's going to happen next. A year before, it was that we are just waiting for vaccine. It's a new disease. But now, even after vaccine, the second wave or third wave, which we are predicting, we don't know where the world will take us. Let's look into what have we learned from this pandemic. One important thing, and especially during the last lockdown, was that we could really breathe fresh air. We have seen the blue skies, which really speaking, I'll say our grandchildren have never seen in Delhi. So it was I should say that we started realizing that what is the cost of development we are paying today. It also taught us another thing, and that is we hardly need anything. It is only our greed that we are asking for so many things. You don't need wardrobe full of clothes that we all have. We don't need the kind of meat and other products that we are, or the kind of food we are eating all the time. We are going to hotels and so much of food wastage in marriages, other functions, and so on. So the human needs are very small, which perhaps can be treated in a sustainable way, but we have totally forgotten we got into a materialistic society. So somewhere, I think after pandemic, we have also learned that we don't have to travel long distances for conferences and so on. Meeting people is very important, but quite a bit of intellectual output you can also get from virtual meetings. So not for everything one needs to burn so much of aviation fuel and going to different places and so on. And another thing is that whatever we say about science and technology, we hardly know anything today. We couldn't find any solution to coronavirus as yet. We are afraid of it, but it also teaches us, and the very fact that even today, our villages, of course, corona has reached villages, but at the same time, the immune system of fellow citizens over there, it's far better than those of us who are living in cities. And why it is so? It's largely because the kind of food they eat. We have to value the coarse grains, the agrobiodiversity that exists. And that is in our rural India. Their immunity is far stronger than any of us. The next, when we talk of sustainability, I suppose we also have to invest on public health. We have to invest on, I won't call them health foods, I'll call them immunity giving foods, which are going to be extremely important. We also have to look into why have we lost those coarse grains or millets in the past. The reason for that is that we haven't invested in research. The Green Revolution, great thing. And I'll say that saved billions from starvation. But somewhere it has also resulted in widespread malnutrition. The varieties which we have chosen, they are comparatively less healthier. Like if we take wheat, there is less of protein. We also look at that what are the reasons for diseases like diabetes in India. Again, to some extent, it's related to the food which we eat. Of course, even if you do an audit, you'll still say Green Revolution was required. What is the implementation of the whole technology? And I want to draw a parallel what is happening today in terms of solar energy. Great thing, because we are always going to get energy from the sun. But have we ever thought to invest what will happen to these large number of solar panels? They are going to have a fixed life. And then are they going to cause pollution? What is it we can recover from those panels? What is it the solar panels should be made of so that there is less of pollution causing material in them? So that simultaneous research has to go on. So so same in turn, like in Green Revolution, we had no option. We had to increase our productivity. But if we have taken into consideration, yes, these are the calorific needs, these are the nutritional needs, perhaps we would have been little better investing in research so that the productivity of millets and other grains also goes up. We are also, since we are talking of agriculture, there's so many things which today we are again ignoring. Like we are very happy exporting rice to other countries, but then that is actually virtual flow of water. You spend so much of water in growing 1 kg of rice. So I'll say that even the pricing of water is not taken care when we are exporting it. And water is something you cannot generate. It is a natural resource. Once depleted, once you have overexploited it, it is more or less gone forever from your country. And we are already witnessing the water level going down in many states. And rather, when we talk of even subsidies on many of fertilizers, farmer is not conscious of what he's using. We can say that our government policies, they are great. They really want to favor organic agriculture. But are we on the right track? Because on the other hand, the inorganic fertilizer is being subsidized by the government, while the organic fertilizer is not subsidized. So indirectly, farmer has to pay higher price if he's going for organic cultivation. Compost. It will take care of your agriculture residue, treating agriculture residue, which is otherwise burned in the environment. So that can be converted maybe through energy, biogas, and the slurry can be used for raising agriculture crops. But we have to work on that entire thing. What kind of microbes we require for decomposition? What do? We have to develop that entire chain how it will be transported. The compost produced at one place, how it will be transported. Can we really work on further developing compost for different crops so that all those nutrients are there? So it becomes a reliable product than what it is today. We also talk of, when we are talking of natural resource management, we also miss on number of other things, and we are always afraid of the investments to be made. We are talking of water. Now, Punjab is a classical case because, or rather, I'll say in many states, irrigation or farmer becomes a political issue. We don't want to lose those votes, and it becomes that we can't touch them. So if the subsidy given once is forever. So they can grow rice in an area which is not suited for it. Again, like sometimes we go wrong. Rightly done by the government that you can't cultivate rice before June, because that's the time water is really scarce and we wait for the rains to come. Now, what happens is once the rice is cultivated and is harvested, it needs certain days to grow. It is harvested and that's the time to grow wheat. So farmer doesn't have time in between to prepare his field, and therefore the entire parali, the rice straw, is burnt in the field, which adds to the environmental problem. Again, when we talk of rice, we are not putting price to the water, because electricity is free and farmer can draw any amount of water from the soil. And aquifer, again, doesn't have geographical boundaries. So in a way, they feel, why should I worry even if I'm extracting more than what I should be doing? But then there are technologies available, direct sowing, which is not so popular as yet. We also have conservation agriculture. So and then the subsoil irrigation, a beautiful technology that you only give water in the root zone. So your fertilizer is given when the plant requires it, an exact dose of fertilizer. You don't have to subsidize fertilizer because what the plant requires is so little that can actually be given. Without subsidy, farmer can afford it. And we will overcome all these problems of ammonia leaching in ammonia release into the atmosphere, nitrogen getting into water, polluting your well water and other things. But then we need to discuss, we need to come out with a holistic way of working on these things.